The April 2019 Rust update introduced a new debris system. After this update, doors can no longer be placed if objects are too close to the door frame. Maybe you already learned this the hard way when you tried to place a workbench too close to the frame and could not replace the door afterwards. The base I'm about to show you was designed before that update, and that update nerfed and broke a few things. Since we're all in a transition and learning phase, and you might be running into these issues as well, I thought it's best if I leave the video in its original, but chime in whenever the update broke something and explain how to work around it. Let's go. There are wipes when I'm lazy and I don't want to bother farming that much. I don't need much storage, but I want to feel safe, have a shooting floor and auto turrets for defense, have lockers for quickly gearing up, and I want to be able to put down a level 3 workbench in case I get the scrap. Meet the Leech. It's basically a mix of the Thrifty Scot and the Phoenix V2. The base is designed for up to 3 team members who wish to have a casual wipe and focus on action rather than building and farming for upkeep. It doubles equally well as a well-defended forward base. It features a 7-box loot room for your items, 2 lockers for your PvP gear sets, space for a tier 2 and even a tier 3 workbench to be able to craft those AKs and explosive bullets, a redesigned drop-down chute guarded by undrainable traps, the possibility to close off said chute with a stability bunker seal, a shooting floor with view to all sides, 3 exits, 1 on each side and 1 on the roof, and up to 4 external auto turrets which cover all angles around the base. Unlike the Thrifty Scot, it offers decent protection to not fall victim to casual raiders. It takes at least 14 rockets to reach main loot and 17 rockets to reach the TC. With 15k stone, 3.5k metal fragments and 110 high qual, it's cheap to build. The upkeep of 2.5k stone, 1.5k metal fragments and 19 high qual is doable without too much effort. Let's take a tour. Up the roof ramp, you find one of the airlocks. The shooting floor allows to spot and engage door campers and raiders. We got up to 4 garage door protected turret compartments. These have helped us numerous times to turn the tide of a raid. Use the space of the shooting floor to temporarily deploy other items such as the repair bench or the research table in case you need them. Up the ladder hatch, we enter the roof. The walkway extends all around the base. Those gaps allow to peek down and check for door campers. The chute is protected by a stability seal and a garage door to prevent cheap door raiding. Down the chute we find the first locker, which is hidden inside the honeycomb. Behind the garage door we find the sleeping bags and the tier 3 workbench. In the back we find a mix of shotgun traps and an auto turret. And in case raiders manage to take out those traps and step down from this floor tile, behind the tier 3 workbench we find the second locker. Here in the corner, next to the traps, we find the tier 2 workbench embedded into the honeycomb. Since the tier 2 workbench is stronger than a stone wall, there's no need to upgrade the wall behind it to sheet metal. Behind the garage door on the left, you find the main loot room. It's a hyper-efficient loot room with 7 large boxes, which together with the lockers should be sufficient for a casual playstyle. On the right, there's another garage door, behind which we find the TC. Since losing the TC is the worst thing that can happen, I upgraded the compartment to armored, which makes it the safest spot of the base. Let's jump into the build. The base can easily be built from scratch at the start of a wipe. If you want to be sure that you can build the base, lay out the footprint now. It's a 2x1 at the core, surrounded by triangles. Locate the triangle next to the square and create the TC compartment. Place the TC like this so that the tip just barely hits this line. If done correctly, you can later fit another furnace into this compartment. Close it off with a double door. Here we already run into the first issue. Placing the TC that close to the wall frame will prevent you from placing the door. There are at least 3 solutions. First, immediately place the garage door before putting down the TC. Second, place the TC in the center of the triangle. Or third, use a window instead of a double door to block the TC off. Turn the square in front of the door into space for your starter items such as sleeping bags, small boxes, and furnaces. Next, we extend the base along the other square, the 2 triangles to the left, the triangle straight ahead, and we add another double door to the right. Move the furnaces and the sleeping bags into the outer one by one. Now focus on getting your metal fragments cooking. First, upgrade the double doors and the wall frames to sheet metal to be flame rate proof. Then start building the main loot room. I'm using the 7-box design. This loot room design is also affected by the update. The easiest fix is to have the garage doors in place before adding the boxes. This means you will have to have the tier 1 workbench down before placing the forward boxes. An alternative is to use a mix of large and small boxes, which almost provides the same amount of storage capacity. If you want to check again in detail how to build it, I'll link the tutorial that explains how to align those boxes easily. The tier 1 workbench can go into the tip of this triangle. Next, we continue extending the base. Add 2 more triangles. At this point, I'd recommend to create a temporary airlock here. If you leave the door frames wood, it'll take you about 5 to 6 machetes to destroy them later. Only place a ceiling above the outer triangle. Above the inner triangle, we build the chute. A window will point outwards. Don't forget the half-height floor tile. At this point, the starter unit is complete and you can farm up blueprints. Next, I'll show you how to upgrade the base in one go. We start by replacing all double doors with garage doors, including the one in the chute. Then we build the first floor honeycomb. In reality, you might have to do this step by step as the materials become available. Make sure to upgrade the inner walls and the foundations before covering them up. Please note that in some places I embed half-height wooden triangles. These allow to later place and replace other half-height triangles. Unfortunately, I'm gonna make a mistake here. At this point, don't place this roof ramp, only the second one. Don't forget to upgrade the chute to sheet metal as well. Place wall frames, door frames and window frames as shown. You can leave space for up to 4 auto turret compartments. However, there's always the option of just placing more windows instead. Add single doors for the 2 exits. Add garage doors to close off the future turret compartments, though you can use double doors temporarily if you don't have the gears yet. And fill in windows with metal window bars or reinforced glass windows. And further add wooden shutters on the inside. Upgrade these 4 floor tiles to armored and the rest to sheet metal. Close off the ceiling when done. Leave this square wood if you want to add roof access later. Once you got the scrap for a tier 2 workbench, go ahead and craft it. Destroy the tier 1 workbench, upgrade the foundation to sheet metal, and place the tier 2 workbench in its place. Close off this triangle with a window. For extra protection, use embrasures during the day and add reinforced glass windows during the night. Thanks to the tier 2, you can now craft lockers. If you have trouble finding lockers, you can buy one at Bandit Camp for 40 scrap. If you run there with 135 scrap, you can just buy it and research it on site. The first locker goes into the triangle behind the furnaces. Close it off with a window as you did with the tier 2 workbench. To place the other locker, destroy the temporary airlock. In this case, the outer walls will be stone and the window frames will be metal. Once completed, add in a half-height floor triangle. You can now use it to leave the base through the second floor. With that out of the way, let's work on the traps. Place 2 shotgun traps below the jump up to the second floor. Place 1 shotgun trap inside the main loot room against the side wall. Place 2 more shotgun traps in the rear. They should be close to the square foundation, but not touching that line, or they may block the placement of the stability seal. Your first auto turret should go all the way in the back and to this corner. Once you obtain more auto turrets, complete the auto turret compartments. They work best when closed with garage doors. If the base is under attack, open them up by pointing at the rollers that stick through the wall. If you desire roof access, hatchet out this floor tile. Ideally, replace it with a ladder hatch. If you don't have the blueprint, a furnace can work as well. Above these triangle tips, place triangle floor tiles. They prevent players from head jumping onto the roof of your base without ladders. In the center 2x1, build an airlock system. I'd use a lot of windows and add a triangle to hold more boxes up here. The door forms another airlock, which allows you to safely enter and exit the base. In case you manage to obtain the tier 3 workbench, you can place it inside the core. Start by removing those furnaces. Place it as far back and as far to the right as possible, otherwise you might not be able to seal the base. One furnace can go to the left of it. The other furnaces will have to move up into the shooting floor. This may not be perfect, but worth it, given that now you can craft all the endgame items. This still works. However, once the tier 3 workbench is down, you'll never be able to replace the garage door leading into the chute. And voila, that's the Leech done. A sturdy little base, ideal for a casual wipe, or as a forward base for an aggressive playstyle. It can withstand quite some backlash, and if you lose it, so what? It's not that expensive. I hope you enjoy this design. Until then, Evil Wurst out.